Are you intentionally keeping the teddy in shot?
Yes, that's Boogaloo.
Fair enough. Big up Boogaloo. There used to be an MC Boogaloo. Do you know that?
Was there any Boogaloo?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Was he any good? How do you feel how do you feel about MCs?
I think they have a place.
No, be honest.
I like them. Like,
Okay.
when I say they have a place,
Yeah.
often when I'm at home and I want to put on some music,
Yeah.
often I would purposely choose something that doesn't have MCs.
The MC,
right?
yeah.
But like, I played at raves that don't have MCs.
Yeah.
Often student nights,
Yeah.
whatever. And I think, an MC would actually add a better dimension to this.
I feel that, yeah, because I've always loved MCs, right? And that's always confused people for me.
Right.
People have always been a bit confused because they've always been like, well, aren't you the left field guy? Aren't you the guy that, sort of like promotes?
What MCs?
Oh, well, my favourite back in the day, to be honest, Cleveland Watkins still is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And Comrade because because I'm just a big kid and I still love that whole Bookham and Comrade thing. I mean, I appreciate they probably want to work with each other now, but it's certainly something that's been a massive part of like the sort of technicality era. So Black Eye started off and with Golden Child. In fact, Golden Child, or Mr. Porter as he's called now, he started off with technicality years ago when we started, and then Black Eye came a little bit after. And it's so great to see Roderick be so famous now. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember a guy at the sort of turn of the millennium called You Be Nice?
No, but I love that name.
Yeah, don't you remember that?
No.
I remember him.
No. Well, he sounds like one of the Carousel MCs, like.
No, I've got it in my
head.
head he was American.
Oh right, okay.
And he was really kind of just hosty, like not even like, didn't even really sort of like, he definitely didn't chat to,
He wasn't like a dibby.
no, no.
Yeah.
What's the fucking word?
He hosted rather than.
Yeah, double time. He wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't double
100%
time.
wasn't
Yeah,
double time.
yeah.
Do you know who would know? Like Shiloh.
Oh, right, okay.
Shiloh would remember him.
You Be Nice. Okay, well I'll have to ask Neil about that one.
I got it in my head that he might have even played at Traffic or something like that, like back in the day, back at a Future Thinking event. I might be wrong on that.
I have to Google him. Would he be on that?
You Be Nice. I don't know.
No, let's
I just brought him.
do the Googles. But I don't know.
Because he used to play on Rude Awakening when I was on there. You Be Nice.
No, not so much.
And bass.
Well, if he was American, did he come like when Armani Rain and people like that sort of like started blowing up, and then everyone was like, oh, let's find the next Armani Rain.
We're talking millennium. We're talking like 2000, that era. 99, 2000s. You know, I'm gonna message Neil anyway.
Oh no, wait. Cool. Right, yeah, cool. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was wicked, wasn't it?
The person who did that, whoever did that, is genius.
I love Neil. I've known Neil's. How long you know Neil?
Neil Shiloh, I've known. We've had a very funny relationship for years. Because I think deep down, Neil really likes me.
Oh, right. Okay, like that, is it?
But I keep doing insane things that make him want to punch me. But because I respect him so much, he's been a great moral guide for me. So like whenever I do something really dumb, if Neil is pissed off at me, he's one of the only people on the planet who I give a shit about if they're upset with me.
Yeah, because I don't think I think it would take a lot to sort of like
exactly.
Yeah, to make Neil say something.
So if he's upset with me, I'm almost like, oh shit, I've upset Neil. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because he's such a nice guy
He's
as
such
well.
a nice guy, yeah.
It's like
yeah.
it's you actually get a bit of pleasure out of upsetting someone who's a cunt, don't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh mate.
But if you upset,
there's a few.
right, but if you upset someone that's like decent, it's actually not a nice feeling.
It's not. It's a terrible feeling. And in fact, I've done that really recently. Actually, that female friend of mine I told you about.
Four weddings.
Four weddings, yeah, because she loves four weddings and funeral, and I was really horrendous to her, and just because I hadn't worked out some of my own shit, and like it wasn't really anything to do with what she was doing, but it kind of was, but it didn't deserve what I gave her, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I've probably lost a friend now, actually, but she'll get over it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think with like a lot of people, you kind of you have to understand that everyone's different. The dynamics are different. How I take things from certain people, like your voice note earlier, right?
Right, yeah.
If that was someone else, I'd go, oh fuck off, I'm not even coming. But I know it's you, right? I know you don't mean it. I know you're just like, stop fucking me around. I know you. Because we had that one before where like I was having a row with your ex or something, and I sent you something about something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, and I feel I gave it. I'm a bit bad like that. See, my habit is that I'll be having a difficult conversation with someone, and I'll try and multitask, and I'll be having a pissed off conversation, and I'll bring that energy into another conversation. So I even do it with my son sometimes. You know what I mean? You know, I'll be pissed off messaging, and Jake goes, "Oh, can I go on the bounce?" He's like, "Yes, just go around." Do you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, Dad, you're angry. Stop it. You know what I mean?
I ignored a text from my missus earlier. Just it was a bit ratty, but like it weren't the worst text in the world. But it's just because I was fucking tired and putting out those things.
Yeah.
And so she just texted something slightly ratty at the worst time, where I just read it, left it on read, and then closed it back out. Fuck off, right? I want you to know it's left on read, right? I'm not replying. Yeah, but it weren't that bad. It was just like I was getting a bit.
But it's your nearest and dearest, so it's like those are the people that you sort of
take it out on.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you first of all, because we're in it now. This is it now. We're doing it. How did you come? First of all, how did you come to love drum and bass? Because that would be that's the question I think I didn't really ever ask you, how you came to love drum and bass, and why did you end up in that particular field of it?
When drum and bass first come around, like, I thought this isn't something that I'm gonna like.
Really?
Yeah, I thought.
So where were you? Where were you living?
I lived in Walton, and I used to like metal. I still like metal.
I love a bit of metal.
I love metal.
Yeah.
Metallica Black Album was really big at the time.
Yeah.
I've listened to Iron Maiden all my life.
Yeah.
Right? And I was a bit different in the fact that I didn't really listen to like pop music.
Yeah.
The way like a lot of my friends at school did.
Yeah.
So like they'll sort of banter you and be a bit. They'll say you're a bit weird because you're not listening to the same thing, right? And but I did like Prodigy Out of Space.
Yes.
Right? I like that.
It's classic. Right? Yeah.
And then I think the first time where I thought, okay, actually no, I do like it, was well, I can pinpoint it. In my mate Ryan's dad's car. He had a car wash over in West London, over at Olympia.
Yeah.
And was in his car. His dad had a BMW, which was like obviously big thing back in the day when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And he had a sub in the boot, also big thing, right? And he played this set he had recorded from radio, and it was Ronnie Size Music Box.
Got ya.
The music, the bass line, up and down.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah.
Just massaging my back. Right? In the car.
Oh, well, I was going to say you was.
Not you. Not Boogaloo. Not you on Boogaloo.
Shout out to Boogaloo the Bear. It's going to be featuring all of these, hopefully. Big up Boogaloo. And for those of you that don't know what Boogaloo is, that's from Alligator Boogaloo, which is a break, which is a very well-known break, so just so you know. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, the bass line was massaging my back, and I'm like, oh, actually, I think I do like this.
Yes. Yeah.
So, in the car, the two tracks, I can still, to this day, Code Red.
Yeah.
Conquering Lion.
Conquering Lion, Code Red, right, okay.
Yeah. And Roddy Size Music Box.
Music Box is such
and those were the two tunes that I went from I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this to I like this.
Yeah. I'm out of shot slightly on this one. I'm just gonna play this back a bit. Sorry, this is gonna be raw to the core. Sorry, it's just this is the first one. So
This way.
So, and where was that? That was in Wolf.
I lived in Walthamstow.
Yeah.
But it was my mate's
what club?
place.
Do you remember? I was just at your mate's house.
I was only a kid. I was only in my teens.
No, that's what I mean. So it's like, you know,
no,
just
it
go
was
and...
in his dad's car.
Oh, right, wow.
That's what I said. He had the BMW with a sub.
Right, okay.
And that's why when the bass line was going up and down on Music Box,
You can feel it matching your back.
it was massaging my back. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
No, do you know what? It wasn't even. It sounds wicked. It feels wicked.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
Right. That's what it was.
Because for me, well, there's a few tunes, but the one tune that always stands out for me in terms of what made me go, oh, I think I'm really going to like this drum and bass thing, was Jungle Thing, was Laserdrome in Peckham, in a sense. It must have been it would have been 94. Yeah, it would have been 94. And it's a track, it was audio on Audio Maze, Easy Does It. It had it had like a bit of, it starts off like a hip hop sort of tune.
Yeah.
I'll probably try and find the music just to fade in at this point maybe.
Yeah.
But it has this like Easy Does It, you know, sample, and then it's like an Amon number, and it had like loads of cymbals, beer, cash. And I just remember like hearing all these cymbals crashing, and it reminded me of like the march of, you know, like some sort of classical music when they use like the big clashes, you know, because I was like, you know, always, you know, played the violin and stuff in school, playing orchestras and stuff, and it definitely hit me in a very particular way, and drugs. Yeah, drugs.
No, see, for me,
Yeah.
weren't like that. I was on what they called back in the day a natural.
Natural high, yeah, I did that for like 2 months.
What are you on, mate? I'm on a natural. You're on a natural.
Yeah.
That was a big proper shock. Oi, Trev, this geezer's on a natural. No, what, he's on a natural? You having a laugh? I'm on a natural.
You having a laugh? Yeah. I mean, I was called Duracell. People used to call me like DJ Duracell for a while when I was started DJing. I was DJ Duracell and then DJ Barlin for a while. And I was called Duracell by this MC called Madder MC on Shocking FM.
Okay.
And there was like a pirate radio, and they were like the sort of like enfant terrible, if you like, of the pirate music world at the time. We had Cool and Rush, and you had Shocking. And I don't know where they were based out of. I think they were based out of Greenwich or someone. And there was a guy called Madder, this MC called Madder, and he was just such a great character. And every time he used to see me in my first early days of raving, I'd never used to be on anything. And like, he'd always be like there at 4, 5 in the morning. So, are you still going? I'm like, yeah, you're like a Duracell, like an Energizer Bunny, mate. You know what I mean? And then people started calling me Duracell for a while.
So what was the stations you grew up listening to?
I grew up on Rush FM, mostly because my mate Kevin Anthony, he could pick it up from his house, but I couldn't pick up anything. So all I was able to do radio-wise, I don't know what, I think I was getting Shocking FM, but I used to get these tapes and bring them down to Kevin's house, and then overnight he used to tape all the tapes for me and some of my mates, and we used to sort of like copy them all, and then because I had like an Amstrad with a double copy thing, so then we used to like take the one master tape of say a night's worth, you know, or 2 nights worth or whatever, and then tape it all onto other tapes for all my friends, and that's how we got into it. And then I moved out very, very young when I was 18. I moved to a flat in Stansted Road in Catford. 337 Stansted Road, and for those that you don't know, that remember, and it sort of became like the sort of like the haunt, the place where, you know, where everyone used to sort of go, you know what I mean? Yeah, and congregate and sort of come.
Go back to yours after the raves.
Yeah, so it was basically where, yeah, it was like I had to come there. Most people came back to mine after the raves, and like my mate Brian Bennett, shout out DJ Delta. He never used to like. I think he had a problem with crowds. He never, you know, at the time people talk about anxiety and stuff like that so easily now. But back then, he would have just been the weird guy that just didn't want to go to raves. But he loved the music, loved the culture, and some events he would go to if they were local. But he never liked coming down to Peckham Laserdrome. And I never actually found out why. I should have probably just asked him one day.
See, at my school, right, and this was pretty mad. Like there was a girl at my school, and her dad put on under 18 raves.
Oh, right.
Right. So my first rave, when I was like 14 or something, was an under 18s in a leisure centre.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you where it was.
Yeah.
Somewhere in West London, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit mad that her dad was like a rave promoter, but for kids. And maybe he did raves for adults, but I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? He might be someone
smart, man,
within the scene that, like, you know, that I didn't realise, you know, that was Suzanne's dad.
I mean, well, shout out Suzanne's dad. Well done for bringing the culture to the kids.
Suzanne, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Blame. I remember DJ Blame, Conrad. Yeah.
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, he's Spurs. He's another fucking
Massive Spurs.
He's
He's come with me.
big time Spurs
He's
fan,
come
isn't
with me. He sat with me at Spurs before.
He's a big time Spurs fan. Yeah, for those that don't realise watching this, I live with a Spurs fan, Dave Stewart, Subject 13. So there was 20 chicken nuggets turned up at the door the other day.
We're everywhere. Spurs were everywhere.
No, but he's watching the game that you guys unfortunately didn't win the other
Newcastle.
day against Newcastle, and I was rooting so hard for you because there's certain mans I know that support Newcastle that I ain't got no time for. But I was really hoping. No, it's all right, I can't. I'm not gonna go there yet. Not gonna go there yet. Hopefully, he will appear on the podcast one day if he's got the stones, but I doubt it. But yeah, I really was hoping for them to win, and then I sort of was like, I heard you went 2-1 up, you got another one back.
Yeah.
But then I heard the doorbell go, and then it was David. 20 chicken nuggets had arrived, and that's because he was sort of like, they were like his depression nuggets. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, he had enough.
It weren't fun. But you were saying about Conrad Blake.
But Conrad was someone that used to go to under 18s raves. He used to go to them. He used to tell me about some of the under 18s raves he used to play at and stuff like that. And it just never really occurred to us. It was just like in our round where we were, because that seemed to be happening just outside of London. And I didn't know of any under 18s raves that happened within London. But then again, I don't know, because I'm 46, so...
Yeah, I'm a bit younger than you.
Yeah.
At least 10 years.
You see, that might be why, because by the time it got down to when you were of age, people were like, oh, I know, let's get some, younger kids into this.
What was your first, over 18s rave then?
So it was always...
Laser drum.
It was laser drums, in a sense. Yeah.
Mine was Fever, Fivers, Roller Express.
Oh, yeah.
And me and my pal, and again, I was 16, right? And
wow.
I live... Walthamstone's not far from Edmonton.
Yeah.
In fact, you can walk there.
Yeah,
Really.
you can walk to it, yeah.
Right? And we got to the estate, like this industrial estate, that's where, for those that don't know, where Roller Express was. And you could get in for a £5 if you had the flyer, right? And the flyer was the £5 note with the Queen winking, right? So we got there and we didn't have the flyer, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're 16, getting in for a £5 it's important because you ain't got much money, right?
You got no money.
And we are scrounging around the floor. We're going all around this estate. I found one. Okay, that's one of us, right? And then eventually, everyone ended up with a flyer.
Yeah.
Get in for £5. No, they didn't ask ID. When I was 16, I looked 14. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like some people like older. I didn't. I looked younger. Right? They didn't ask me for no ID.
Yeah.
Right? But I knew it was a bit different because I was asked to take my shoes and socks off and proper search getting into Roller Express. Proper search. And I was talking about the bass as well. That's the other thing I really remember was I sat down on this platform and when you're breathing, it hurts to breathe.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Although I didn't experience the lack of breath thing until I went to Valve at Fabric.
Oh, yeah.
Because when the room 2, what people would know as room 2, it was like a third smaller than normal because of the amount of speakers in the space. Right? And it was like, okay, and you saw people throwing up, literally throwing up from the amount of bass. But I was like, I bet Lem and D were both like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, we got another one. Yeah, another one. They were like looking somewhere thinking, yeah, how many
clean up in aisle 5.
Yeah.
we done it again.
But yeah, bass was always a massive thing. They used to have the turbo bass at what was the name? Equinox nightclub in Leicester Square. When I was going to college, they had that thing where they put the turbo bass on, and it was just like a meat market. It was playing like R&B and hip hop or whatever. And then they would at 12 o'clock they turn the turbo bass on. They just seemed to turn it up louder. That's what they probably did. But I remember that. But then obviously you had Voodoo Magic at Equinox. So that might have missed you by the time.
No, I didn't go. Yeah.
Didn't you go? Yeah, because that was the one that started at 4 a.m.
Right.
And it was incredible because people would go to Labyrinth and Laser Drum and different events, and then everyone would leave their events and come into London.
Labyrinth was my first drum and bass play out.
So that was your first. Oh, that's where you played out first.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was 17. I was 7. I wasn't even old enough to be in Labyrinth when I was playing it.
Wow.
I started DJing when I was 16. I DJ'd at my local ice rink in Lee Valley. Right? The kids will come up, put on Wicked Wicked.
Yeah.
Incredible, right? Yeah.
Incredible, yeah.
That always used to make me laugh, right? The kids, and even today I'm sure it still happens, but obviously with new music, the kids would hear something in a tune and they don't. The name of the tune doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. So they would say, "Put on Icky Icky."
Yeah.
Right. Or put on Wicked Wicked. Right.
Yeah.
I know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Incredible.
They just rename them.
The one that threw me was once put on the Whistle tune. The Whistle tune?
The Whistle tune.
I'm going, what's the Whistle tune? You know, the one with the piano. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like, oh yeah, it's got a whistle before the drop.
What? Beep, beep. Oh.
Ding, ding, and then the whistle, and then it drops, right? And I'm like, how did this little kid decide that was now called the Whistle tune?
That's how they
It's
get
got a whole
renamed.
piano on the intro.
It's the same way that now what people would have called Jump Up is called Jungle now.
Yeah,
Everything's just like flipped on its head. Like you talk to some of my peers, people about my, because I'm, like I said, sort of 50 or 45 and above, maybe even 30 and above, maybe 40 and above. Jungle will be that traditional reggae soul sound. You talk to an under 25-year-old, it'll be, Serum or Blade Runner or King of the Rollers, one of those guys, that they will consider that jungle. And it's, I see people my age get so angry about it and stuff. It's like, no, that's not jungle, that's not what jungle is. It's like, well, that's not what jungle is for you. I mean, rock was something in the 70s, it was something in the 60s, it's something in the 80s, it's something different in the 90s. I mean, I suppose Arctic Monkeys would be considered, maybe now.
Again, and the same with hip hop.
Yeah,
right?
well,
Have you noticed how, whatever the previous generation was puts down the current generation?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you ever and it's all genres.
But it's sort it that comes from, we're jumping around a bit here, but that is an interesting thing, and it's something we should discuss, because I used to be obviously quite militant when I was younger, but one of the things that I realised as I got older was that by being super militant to the younger guard, all you're doing was sort of pushing them away from potentially getting into the sound that you're into. So once we started Technicality, I was very sort of like open to younger kids coming in. If they enjoyed it, I was really happy about it. And I didn't get too upset or worried if, people were like, not entirely clued up to what, they were listening to or whatever. It's a bit unfair to sort of judge them. But it's funny, I did actually give someone some shit not over the summer. And I was briefly dating someone over the summer.
Where's this gonna go?
No, it's all right.
Was Boogaloo involved?
No, Boogaloo wasn't involved. She's a lovely girl, vegan, and I was out and it's relevant because I was out one night at Rupture, and then this guy asked me who the DJ was, and it was Seba, and I said to the person, if you don't know who this is, you shouldn't be in here, right? And I was joking, right? But I'm very deadpan, and especially in a noisy club, it would have looked like I was probably being serious. And I was kind of like maybe 10% serious, but it was mostly a joke. I was just encouraging the guy, look, maybe you should go and look him up, find out who the fuck you're looking at, blah, blah. And it probably wasn't the most friendly way of doing it, and I accept that. Fast forward to maybe 3 weeks later, I'm at the Bird's Nest in Deptford, and I'm with this girl that I'm dating and one of her friends who I was meeting for the first time. And the boy that I saw at the event turns up and was telling them two about this guy that he met that had a go at him.
Who was like proper rude.
Right, and I was standing there, like, it's me.
Do you not recognise you?
He didn't recognise it, but I was like, no, that was me. I was only joking. I was like, no, don't repeat the story like that. I was kidding. But he made himself out to be a bit of a victim in it. And then so it meant that the woman who I was dating's friend then started having a go at me. And this is the first time she's met me, because she was supposed to be meeting me, as like her mate's new boyfriend kind of thing. And she thought I was a complete dick. And probably continues to. But I'm really, really sorry about that. I didn't mean it was a joke. And shout out going to the guy. Sorry, I just banged the camera there now.
But this is the beautiful thing about like how certain generations that come through. This guy didn't know who Seba was, right?
No. And that's fine.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Look, when generations come, so for me, when I first started raving, right, and there was still the original promoters that were. I was going to the raves of people like One Nation and Telepathy and Helter Skelter and Dreamscape and Labyrinth, right, and Desire, like the original that were first started putting on legal raves.
Yeah,
they all hated each other. listen, let's be honest, they hated each other,
they
all
did.
of them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then this next generation come through, right?
Yeah.
Myself, Ryan at Best of British. Ryan and my brother are best mates now, right?
Right,
Like,
okay,
Ryan's
okay.
my boy. Like, I love Ryan, yeah?
Yeah.
Because when we came through, we were like, well, we don't have to be at each other's throats. We don't have to be against each other.
Right.
We can actually be mates and actually help each other.
So Ryan was the guy that started Best of British.
Ryan, yeah.
Right. Okay. I've always often
R-Type.
wondered why. Right.
R-Type and player.
Right. Okay. I've always wondered why he called
And
it.
we both started the same year.
Why did he call it that?
What, Best of British?
Yeah.
Don't know. But,
Okay.
I think, because I don't know if you remember on the original Best of British Flyers.
Yeah.
He called it British Breakbeat Crew Presents,
Right.
and he used the BBC logo.
The BBC. Right. Okay.
Right,
So is he right? Is he a black guy, white guy?
white guy.
He's a white guy. Okay.
Hayes.
No, it matters. But I'm just building the picture. I'm not trying to paint anything, but I'm just wondering because I always remember seeing that brand and sort of thinking, why are they called it that? Do you know what I mean? Just in my head, just in my little black guy head, it didn't. I don't know why it bothered me, but it did a little bit.
Really?
I don't know why, and it's totally my shit. It's totally my shit. I'm not putting anything.
I don't think it was
I don't
meant.
think there's any. I'm sure there's absolutely no malicious
I don't think it was meant to
reason.
be.
No. And it is probably me with my shit, but it just goes to show how sometimes annoying it is. Like, because you try not to be paranoid about everything, and then sometimes you start, when people say, oh, if you look for racism, you find it. It's like, that's probably an example of me actually kind of doing it a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, but I don't know.
Best of British and I started Dance Concept in 99.
Yes.
We both started the same year. We help each other out. And like, if say, he needed help flyering,
Yeah.
well, I'd give out Best of British flyers when he gave out, and he'd say, I'll reciprocate and, do Dance Concept flyers. And it was good. And like, the point that I'm getting to, when you mentioned Seba, is like, for me, right, when I first started putting on DC events, right, you knew, and the pool of DJs was a lot smaller back then. You knew it was the same heads, like pretty much at every rave, really. And the pool of heads was a lot smaller. So for me, I wanted to do something that was like different to what everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, Twisted Individual, for example, right? Interesting character, Lee, right? But I was booking Twisted Individual in my main room before X and Herbsy in the main room before anyone. Right? It really annoyed
X-Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, the first ever Dance Concept flyer, it was spelt X-Man.
Oh right, okay. He just took it from Marvel.
No, that's how I got it down.
Oh,
right. And then he said to me afterwards, because when we did the second flyer, he said, I think I want it to be EKS man.
Right,
and
I'm glad.
And he politely said that way, and I'm like, okay, we'll do it. We'll spell it like that from now on. But the first flyer, so if you ever if you go online and you look, November 1999 Dance Concept flyer, and you see X Man, it's X Man. On his first flyer that I was putting in the main room.
Heard it here first?
Yeah.
Or maybe not, but like I've heard it here first. There you go.
You've heard it here first. it annoys X whenever it's reminded.
So Dance Concept started before Souped Up?
Oh, years.
Right, okay.
Absolutely. And like in London, they didn't really venture out of London, but like in London, like it got a decent name. Like, and I was doing events.
No, I remember Dance Concept events.
Yeah. Labyrinth, because that's where my first residency was.
Yeah.
And then we did Scala. We did. We was gonna do Temple, which was Aztec Lounge, which was Club UN.
Yes. Oh my God. Club
N17. We were gonna do it there, and then
Jesus.
They lost their license.
Club UN. They were open for 6 weeks.
Yeah. They lost their license, and then they said, "But we've got this other venue, not too far from Southeast, actually. Well, in Southeast. Do you remember Graceland Studio?
I do remember the name.
Old Kent Road.
On the Old Kent Road.
It was behind the McDonald's.
Yes.
Right.
I never went, but I heard of it.
They said, "Oh, we've got this other venue that we're opening up, like big warehouse kind of venue."
Yeah.
So I did one there. Coliseum back in the day.
Yes.
Club Coliseum. I used to do them.
It was SW7 wasn't it? As well, Coliseum.
Yeah. So in Vauxhall, I'm talking about, and it was good. It was good, man. It was good times, but putting like these people. It gave me a bit of an advantage being young, right? Being the same age basically as my target audience, right? When I was saying earlier on about those original promoters, they're all old guys. They're like at least 30. Old. These people are old, right? Right. But I'm the same age as the target audience.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know, right? They don't even know who's X-Man. I know who X-Man is,
Yeah.
and trust me,
Yeah.
everyone my age and a year older, they want to see X-Man.
Yeah.
They want to see Twisted Individual. Trust me, this guy's coming through.
Yeah.
Right. But then actually, I've never talked about this, not on social media. No, my friends know, but I've never. This is the first time I've ever talked about it openly. I had a fallout with Labyrinth. Like, it was quite easy to have a fallout with Joe at Labyrinth.
I heard.
Yeah. But it was.
I heard stories, but yeah, I don't know much about it.
It was quite a serious fallout.
Yeah.
Right? And it was. I was having a conversation with Sue, who with Joe was with.
Right. So that's his partner. Like,
yeah. And she used to book the lineups for Labyrinth, right? And they helped me get Kenny Ken on like one of my first lineups because they could get Kenny Ken.
Right.
And then I said, like, if there's anything I can help with, like, let me know.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what I said to her, right? I said, because like obviously, like what I just said to you, like I'm the same age, I know what everyone wants, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think nothing else of it.
Right.
I didn't think anything else of it,
Yeah.
right? Then the next time I played at Labyrinth, right, I've played my set. I was on last, right. I've gone up to the office to get my wage, right, and then Joe absolutely fucking switches on me. Like,
Right. He goes like gets angry at you.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right. And I'm like,
Right.
what the fuck?
Okay. Yeah.
And he went, how dare you fucking insult my wife? Like I said, what? And he went, telling her she doesn't know who to book and you know who should be booked and blah blah blah. And I was like, fucking hell, like I didn't mean it like that at all.
Okay.
Right? I'm not gonna lie, right? I was with my boy Lockstock, right? Lockstock Run.
Right. Okay.
Because when Joe switches. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I was a bit uncomfortable myself, right?
Yeah, you would be.
I was a young kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like upstairs in a nightclub at 7 a.m. in the morning
Yeah.
with no one else around.
And just to paint a picture, what does Joe look like? Just to paint a picture for people.
Right, okay. Right. Very small.
Right.
But
Yeah.
got that look in his eye.
Yes. So
Have you seen
I heard he was diminutive. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But when he
Yes.
when he gets that look in his
Yeah,
eye
yeah.
and he starts saying things
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna put a fucking axe in your head, you can't.
Yeah, you sort of go, okay, you kind of believe him. Yeah. That's it.
Right? And I'm like, I
These
want
are
to get
all-
out of here. I don't
These are
feel
all
comfortable.
kind of confirming things that I've heard, but I've never had any dealings with him. No problem with him. No beef with you, Joe. I'm cool.
Do you know what?
We're fine. He's saying the shit. He's saying it.
Not long after that, he had a girl called Natalie Spider that used to like help do promotion. She's a nice girl.
Right. Okay.
And I saw her outside Bagley's, right? We'll fly her at the dance concert.
Yeah,
And she
Bagley's.
said, oh, Joe's really sorry about what happened, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, yeah, he just wanted me to like let you know that. And I'm like,
Right. Okay.
fair enough.
Okay.
And that was that. But I never went back.
No, you wouldn't.
I was still on flyers because he used to do these flyers like, you know, months in advance. So it was like weeks worth of lineups.
Yeah.
And I was still scheduled to go back, but I never went back.
Why would you? You don't want to work with people like that.
No.
If they can switch on you like that, you want to have, for those of you that are thinking of putting on events or anything like that, you certainly need to find a club that are on board with your idea. Even if you have to convince them to do it, if they take a bit of convincing, sometimes that's better sometimes because it means they've had to really think about what you're doing.
If you look at like how sometimes I complain, right? And we mentioned before we even started about how there's this like added level of bureaucracy now, and
Yes.
like, if there's a level of professionalism that didn't exist before, right?
Yes.
If you want to call it that, right? And sometimes I'm like, oh, I miss the old days where you could just like book a venue, book a lineup, print a flyer, and do it. Right?
Yeah,
And now you
embargoes.
Yeah, no,
You didn't
embargoes, you can't this person. Let me find out. Agent says not sure.
Yeah.
Management have got something, cooking. Let me find out from management and blah blah. And now it's just like an added level of headache.
I'll call it as it is. I just think agents have ruined like the availability of artists to the fans, and I think that there's this idea that if you see a DJ too much, that somehow they'll become boring or tired, or do you know what I mean? But I think there's plenty of DJs we could probably
It wasn't
name.
like that for us when we grew up. I saw Nicky Black Market every week. Brocky every week.
Happily watch Nicky Black Market, Brocky, like Jumping Jack Frost, Brian G. Happily watch them every week. Like Movement was every week.
Every week.
right? And there was no issue with any of that shit, and it really is one of the things that I think has destroyed. I think the two things that destroyed that have that agents embargo, like getting into bed with like promoters thing, promoters becoming conglomerates, you know, sort of like these superpowers. I mean, my understanding is that, you know, with drum and bass and large dance events in this country, it's like 3 guys. My understanding.
Yeah,
right.
Some of the big promoters are sort of sweeping up and trying to sort of like
pick up
take
the smaller
over
ones.
the cities.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, my understanding.
But fair play to them, like in one sense, right?
But then it kills creativity. I think because then you then
it's hard for me to sort of like, because these guys put on my events.
No.
So that's why I'm saying it's a bit of a
No,
yes.
they put on your events. No, of course. But look,
that's how I see it.
No, that's fine.
What you're saying is legitimate.
Yeah.
Right. But then also, I could say this because no one's tried to headbutt me and call me a cunt for a long time. Do you know what I mean?
But I wouldn't. But that's not necessarily because. I mean, it could be just you're a cunt.
I haven't been there at 7 o'clock in the morning with some coked up promoter trying to put an axe in my head for a long time.
I've had a coked up promoter quietly knock on my hotel room door and beat the living shit out of me at like 5 in the morning.
Really?
I've had that. That was one experience that I had that wasn't pleasant. It was fine. He did actually break my nose, but I didn't actually find out until like about 4 years later. So it was one of them ones, yeah. And so it was quite annoying. So I had.
Do you know what? I got proper prang, right? Because the next day, right, and I still remember this, right. I got out of there, right, unscathed, right. I also.
This is from the Joe situation.
Let me tell you something proper mad as well, right? I didn't take my records up there. I gave them to my boy to look after while I went out to get paid.
Right. Okay.
If I had taken my records up there,
you think you would have taken them off you?
I wouldn't have had my records. Yeah, right. I wouldn't have had my records. Right. So I managed to get out unscathed. Right. I got out my records, which was like more important than coming out unscathed. You can cave my face in if you want. Don't fucking take my records, right? Right?
You don't need that. You don't need that.
And then the next day, right? I'm around my boy at Lockstock's house. We're chilling, right? Cool. We got a call on.
Yeah.
And like, they're reading out the shouts, and someone like said, "Oh, big up Benny V for last night at Labyrinth," right? And I'm like, do you mean like because of my set or because you know something? I got pranked. I got really pranked. I'm like, hold on, am I just being mugged off? I can't tell. You know when you're like,
Yeah, I think if you've just had an altercation with someone and they shout you out without having any conversation with you in private, it's a bit of a
Whoever it was, they texted in or whatever, and they just said, "Yeah, big up Benny V for a very entertaining set last night at Labyrinth," and I'm like, or whatever it was. And I got a bit pranked. I wasn't sure if they were actually complimenting maybe they were just complimenting my set.
I mean, they could have been. I hope they were.
I hope they were. I mean, it was a good set.
I hope they were. I hope there was a sort of veiled threat.
That's what I meant. And now I got proper prank about it.
Yeah, we'll be watching your next set really closely. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, just.
This is me just hugging my records. Don't take my records. Don't take my records.
Oh my god. So you had that unfortunate situation, but nevertheless you managed to get Dance Concept.
Yeah.
To quite a level, because I remember seeing the flyers and the posters. Fucking Dance Concept. Obviously, I had no idea. I hadn't met you yet. So I remember seeing that all about. Not really having any sort of thoughts on it, because I think I was probably very deep in my sort of technicality and doing whatever I was doing. But it was just something that was on my radar. But yeah, no, that's incredible.
And it's mad as well, because like obviously since Souped Up started and like that's had such a sort of meteoric rise.
So just real quick, so how did that start? Why did you decide to start a label?
Well, Dance Concept evolved from a promotion to a label anyway.
Yeah.
Right? And I just thought that was like a natural thing.
Yeah, so there was the label came up, there was a Dance Concept label, wasn't there? That
and Dance Concept's still going, right?
Of course.
So with I was doing events for like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And then what I found was like being a promoter, I mean, it's like it's great and it's shit at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It's great when it goes well, and it's horrible kicking the bollocks when it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I don't have a bottomless pit of money. I'm not like a corporate company. I was just a kid.
Yeah.
I was just a kid that still lived at home, that had like, some leftover money every month, and that's why I put on events, and because I love the music, of course.
Okay.
Right. And then I just thought, like, it was just, where do you go? You've hit a ceiling. There's nothing else to do. Just putting on events. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're not so great. What else is there?
Yeah.
And I just thought a label's better because now I can express myself differently.
Yeah.
And I started working in the studio with different levels who'd done an album with Stevie Hyper, bless him, who'd passed. And there was all this material of unreleased stuff that Stevie had done. And different levels kind of like hinted in the studio, oh, it'd be great if it came out one day. Like, and I was like, yeah, it would be great if it came out. Like, I'd be up for putting it out. Oh, would you? It's like one of those ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put out a Hyper D album, and so boom, from the first release, it was just like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the legend.
Amazing.
Yeah,
absolute legend, man.
That's what. Yeah, in fact, that's when I was talking to different DJs and different people to give quotes for the inlay on the album and stuff, and I called the album The Legend.
Yeah.
Because everyone I spoke to said the term.
He had that sort of status even during his career. He just had a legendary status, even if it was like the first time you heard him. He was. I can't express how amazing seeing. I mean, I've been 2 meters away from him performing, sweating all over me, but absolutely loving it. And we were talking at the top of this about MCs and how, if you like them, how important they are, and I just think they're massively important, especially when you have someone like a Stevie Hyper or a Skippity, or even now you've got the Black Eyes, the Vision OBs, the SP is one of my personal favourites. I absolutely love him. Got to shout out Deefa as well. He's always been amazing fun, and we always have incredible banter.
I like Deefa, nice guy.
I love working with Deefa because he always takes a piss out of me because he knows I hate DVD MCs, and then he fucking does it over my sets just to wind me up. But
SP, right? SP, he was on.
I love him though.
He was on Rude Awakening when I was. In fact, the Sunday lineup on Rude Awakening, right, was pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
But like almost like ahead of its time in a way.
Okay.
So like, I think 12 till 2 was Terry T, Knowledge and Wisdom, Jungle Ambassadors.
Yeah.
And then 2 till 4. No, they were 2 till 4, and then 4 till 6 was me.
Yeah.
And then 6 till 8 was Jubei and SP.
SP, wow. Okay.
Right? So I was on in between Terry T and Jubei and SP.
Yeah.
And then 8 till 10 was Chillum, Expo and Herbsy.
Wow.
Right. And then 10 till 12 was on rotation. It was Twisted Individual or Zen.
And it's on Rude?
On Rude Awakening.
Rude Awakening, right?
Yeah, 10-4-3, right?
Wow.
It was Twisted Individual or Zen or Fearless DJing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fearless DJing with Mirage MCing.
Right, okay.
So that was the Sunday lineup on Rude Awakening.
Yeah,
it was decent. It was decent. And SP... Back in those days, listen, you can get away with a lot more pirate than you can on like...
you can.
I'm on East London radio now, I can't get away with half the things I used to talk about.
Yeah.
So I'd talk about that first noise a girl will make, right? Like that, right?
So,
Girls with big eyes. It's not an analogy. I'm not talking about girls like, when I say big eyes, I mean big something else. I mean literally girls with big eyes, especially when they're looking up, right? I'd always talk about these kind of things on radio. And when Jubei and SP would turn up, and they're like, "Oh Ben, like you've been cracking."
He's talking about fellatio, people.
I am talking about. Fellatio.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go on.
And Jubei and SP would turn up. "Oh Ben, like you've been cracking us up all the way here." I said, "You know Jubei, right? Do you know how he got his name?"
No, actually.
I knew straight away. Right, as soon as I met him, right, I said, "Ninja Scroll."
Oh fuck yeah!
Right,
Jesus
and he
Christ.
was like,
Jesus
"Yeah."
Christ.
He said, "Yeah, Ninja Scroll."
I love that film. Oh man.
This was before like everyone had the internet.
Yeah.
So he actually spelled it wrong.
Oh, scene.
So he spells Jubei with the I and the E the wrong way around.
Right.
How Jubei is actually
That's
spelled.
in Ninja Scrolls, yeah.
In Ninja Scroll, yeah.
Because it's the old school manga. It's like Fist of the North Star. It was past Fist of the North Star. It was a bit later on, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
like, oh man. So were you a manga fan? Just real
Loved
quick.
it.
Oh man. So because I mean Akira still stands up there for me.
Love Akira.
And one of my I love Howl's Moving Castle. right?
Oh yeah.
Because my and Spirited Away, I love that one as well because me and my son love that one.
Come on,
it's just so good.
Listen, if you've not seen Spirited Away,
yeah, you need to watch Spirited Away.
Trust me, it's amazing.
But you also need to watch Fists of the North Star as well to see ridiculous head exploding kung fu.
But do not watch Urotsuki Doji, Legend of the Overfiend, or Legend of the Demon Womb.
Do watch those.
Don't watch them.
If you're like me and are a freak and like watching demons doing indescribable stuff to Japanese women.
Everyone used to share at college. Everyone used to share the VHS of these films, right?
Do you know?
And then when someone asked me about 10 years ago or something, right? No, it was a bit longer than that.
Yeah.
About 15 years ago, and we was talking about manga, and I said those two, and I said, well, the first one, Yorotsuki Doji, Legend of the Overfiend, which is the first one. I said it's a bit close to the line. I said, but like Legend of the Demon Womb's over the line, right?
I mean,
and then I rewatched them, right? And they were both. In fact, there was no line, right? How did I think the first one was just on the line? The first one was way over the line.
I mean, it's, you know.
Unless you like, multi-penis demons. Right?
I mean, what's not to like about multi-penis demons? Like, I don't know what your problem is. I don't know why you're being so.
Well, not if you wouldn't like it if you was a schoolgirl in the movie.
You're offending the sci-fi fantasy porno community right now, I reckon.
Right, I'm thinking
the hentai community.
No, right, listen, I love this. When I was putting on dance concepts at Rhythm Factory,
yeah.
right, and I thought, right, we got a projector for the, and I always try and like think of something that's a bit outside the box, something a bit different,
yeah,
right. And we had a projector on the wall at the Rhythm Factory, and like at Scala, I used the projector. I put up like Alien, I put up some classic sci-fi stuff. People used to have, it's wicked to having like sci-fi stuff, especially when there's a lot of strobing and stuff in those movies.
Of course.
And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to just keep doing the same films. Mm-hmm. So I thought, what can I have that's a bit different at like one of the dance concepts at Rhythm Factory? And I thought, do you know what, sod it. And I went HMV Oxford Street, and I went to the hentai section, right? And everything that was like, looked really proper full on 18s and like, so I've gone up, right? And when you think, well, what can I say, right? Because if I said, I'm not really going to watch this, I said, this is for an event I'm putting on, whatever. The guy behind doesn't care, right? He's going to judge me anyway. Yeah. So I just paid for it, right? So, I've got this hentai porn on, right? It's on for ages, right? And then I'm standing there, and like, Mirage, hey, Benny, what's this? I said, I just got some hentai porn. He's like, yeah, it's good, isn't it? Right? And he's like, and then watching it, right, for ages. I'm like, ages. Yeah, he was in it.
Yeah,
Mirage, you're on in a minute. Yeah.
He's like, just in a minute, still goes to the toilet. No,
big up Mirage, big up Jason, he's a good guy.
I have no idea who you are, Mirage, but big you up. Love you for your hentai. Well, look, I mean, hentai is like the full-on porn thing. I mean, I don't know if I can get on board with that. I think when it comes to that, I need to watch just my normal, plethora of ridiculously disgusting porn that I watch with real people. But I think those films which had a story and then it just had like mad bits of sex in and stuff, I think they do hold quite a lot of, well, I say hold water, but maybe
Ninja Scroll is
Ninja Scroll's got a bit of sexy time in it.
It's a great film.
It's good, it's great fun. But then I loved all the sort of more modern ones, so like when they did Afro Samurai, which I thought was amazing.
Samuel Jackson
playing like the sort of conscience of the main guy. And then even Samurai Jack, like remember the sort of more 2D version. I loved that as well, and that was amazing. But anyway, massive digression.
Yeah, I don't know. We did.
But so you had Dance Concert Label that was going along, and then we started. Souped Up started in.
Oh.
Do you remember what year roughly?
Mad, isn't it? Like I can tell you straight away. November 1999 was the first dance concept.
Right. Okay.
But Souped Up.
No idea when
2000, it's like 18 years later or something.
Right, okay.
2017, 2018.
Right, okay. Oh, so it's not been around for an incredible long time. Right.
So like, the way that come about, because I presume that's what you was
basically,
on Dance Concepts, bloody hell, it's one of those ones where you unravel it and you get further and further. I used to work with Magic from Prisoners of Technology.
Right.
Fresh Cut. Do you remember them?
Yeah. No.
Trigger Technology. You would trust me.
No.
Delicate Beats.
No. I feel like I should though.
Massive jump up stuff from like that.
Yeah, you see, I wouldn't know. That's what I mean. That's why I'm going to talk to you. I really want to do a thing about jump up later. But anyway, carry on, because I don't know anything about it. That's the thing.
So I used to work with Magic a lot. Used to go to his studio, and then Nightbreed, who were on Ram, used to come down. Nigel and Sam.
Yeah.
And then Nightbreed split up, and Sam started Cabin Fever.
Right.
And so I become friends with Sam, and then Sam pulled Rascal, was he DJ Rascal or something like that?
Okay.
Canadian Devil, can't remember. Into Cabin Fever.
Right.
And then when DJ Rascal, which I think his name was, left Cabin Fever,
Right.
he left as Voltage.
Oh.
Right? So that's how I knew Voltage.
Right, okay.
He did some remix work for me. He'd been releasing stuff on Dance Concept for ages anyway.
Right.
And then he said, Ben, you really got to start working with, he said, Serum. I said, do you know what? I've heard some of his stuff and I like it. I said, but I don't really know him. He said, I'll introduce you.
Yeah, because I knew of Serum. Serum was the only one that I kind of really knew of before any of this sort of started happening.
Yeah, well, I knew Voltage before he was Voltage.
Right, okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, Voltage introduced me to Serum. We hit it off straight away. He did a release on Dance Concept. Just got on really well.
Yeah.
We also did a remix for what was going to be a big commercial project that I'd sort of like managed to sort of put together, but in the end that didn't come about. We ended up releasing it as a different title.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and then to be fair, Suits Up was his sort of brainchild,
Right,
more than mine.
okay.
But he just said, look, you run a label, I want to start a label,
Yeah.
would you be up for running 2 labels?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about the concept of it, and he just went from there.
Right, so that's his brainchild, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been some fantastic tunes. I did actually go through some of the releases, like before we chatted, and it's so interesting to hear that, the evolution of, Jump Up, as I suppose it would be called, from where I knew it to be to where it is now with what you guys are doing, and especially some of the newer cats, like Anton, what's his name? Anton Bailey, he runs oh god, I've forgotten his bloody name. That's so bad, I've forgotten his name. It's terrible. Sorry Anton, I forgot your name. Anton Bailey runs this amazing Jump Up label out of Bristol, and their name has just popped out of my bloody head, I can't remember. But anyway, I might have to bloody Google it. But anyway,
Well, that was the beauty of it in certain respects, in the sense that you talk about Jump Up,
yeah.
and
Is it Jump
with
Up?
anything,
Yeah, so what
like
is
with
it?
anything, Jump Up actually could possibly mean something different
To different people,
You're asking.
right? Exactly. So this is the meat and potatoes of it now, right? What is it? What is it?
Well, yeah, I guess we are a bit Jump Up, but we're not, traditional Jump Up. We're Jump Up with a fusion of rollers, with a fusion of even the techier stuff.
Right.
I mean, having Current Value on Suits Up
Yeah.
was a hell of a curveball.
Yeah.
No one was expecting that.
Yeah.
In fact, people were shocked to
Yeah.
have Current Value on Suits Up.
Yeah.
But he said he wanted to do something what he called more fun, right?
Okay, I
and so
can
he
dig that.
said, and we're the label he wanted to put. He wanted his more fun stuff to come out, right?
I can dig that.
And so that's how we ended up with Current Value on there. And we're really lucky that at the wave of when everyone started loving the rollers,
Yeah.
that's when we had started. So we were like at the cusp of it. You know what I mean? We were at the forefront of it.
Yeah.
So as that subgenre was sort of like gaining momentum,
Yeah.
so were we.
Yeah.
Because we were the ones that were pushing it.
Yeah.
With Serum sound, with Blade Runner sound, with Voltage's sound. Like we were the ones that were releasing the music from all 3 of them.
So how did Blade Runner get involved actually?
Oh, so Blade and Serum knew each other from Dread Days.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
So like they'd known each other from like.
So he just sort of naturally got pulled in and then.
Yeah, I met Blade Runner through Serum.
Right. Okay. Got it.
And
Yeah.
Blade Runner's like a diamond, by the way, absolute diamond.
He's like obviously I had my time at that company that I worked at before, and when I met them, it was like they were all degrees of certain things of intensities, like it's all like.
Oh, you got the least intensity with Blade Runner.
Exactly, and then Serum was kind of in the middle, and then Voltage was the most. And then the chat levels were sort of different, would be a different order, because even though Voltage was more intense in his personality, I felt like Serum spoke more, and then Voltage not quite as much, and then Blade Runner would be the least to speak.
And you know the good thing about like those three as well and the different personalities is with Blade Runner, right? To say he's more chilled than the other two is an understatement, right?
Right. Okay.
But the thing about being more chilled is like it's more chilled with everything.
Yeah.
It means like it's actually a lot harder for Blade Runner to get irate.
Yeah. Right.
Because nothing bothers him.
Nothing bothers him.
I mean, it does. Like obviously, I'm talking on. Dave, I can't talk on your behalf. I'm sure there are things that bother you.
Feel free to come on and tell us your process.
No,
absolutely.
I am sure there's things that bother it, but you know what I mean. You know, like where I know that certain things might get under the skin of other people. Yeah. With Blade Runner, I think it's really hard to get.
Right, so ice in his veins. I like that.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy, Blade Runner.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's how the label started, and that's how the wave started as well, and especially with like that kind of like rollers sound. And I guess and this was the other thing. When I say jump up means different things to different people. So some people might say, well, hold on, Low Down Deep. Right. That's a jump up label.
Right, yeah. Now that's a label that I know that you would call a typical. That's jump up.
Big up Logan.
Logan D, big up Logan. How long has that guy been in this scene for? He's like.
Shall I tell you?
Go on.
I've known him since he was in his teens. He used to work at Boogie Times in Rumford.
So how old is he now? Maybe he's younger than I think.
He's younger than us.
Oh, is he really?
He's younger than us, yeah. He's younger than us. No. Well, he works at Boogie Times, right? And I'll tell you what, right?
So what, when Andy C and all that was there? Or before? After? It must have been after.
99, 2000, 2001, right?
Well, no, it had been after.
We had a dance concept, right?
Yeah.
At a venue that doesn't exist anymore called Secrets in Rumford, right?
Okay.
And
sounds awful. But yeah.
It was one of, do you know what, right? For those that know Rumford, it's a typical satellite town club, right? It was like, and in that era, 2001, where garage was massive, right?
Yeah.
So it was like a renowned garage venue. But I said I wanted to put on a drum and bass event there.
Yeah.
Right? First time drum and bass had ever been put on at Secrets. And like, it was bank holiday, May the 6th, 2001. See what I mean? How can I remember these things from like 100 years ago and I can't remember anything from the other week, right?
Absolutely mental.
And like, absolutely wicked night. It was a record attendance at the venue because we had Secrets, Inner Secrets, and a club next to it called RM1, all in the same building, all opened up.
Right.
Drum and bass in the main room, old school in the Inner Secrets, which was the smallest room, and garage, because everyone had garage in the other room in 2001, in RM1. And Logan D turns up, right? And I'm like, oh, good to see you. And he's like, yeah, thanks. And like, he handed in a ticket. And I'm like,
okay.
Like,
he bought a ticket.
You didn't have to do that. And he's like, well, I didn't want to take the piss. And I'm like,
I love it when people do that.
I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah,
okay. But next time, just give us a shout, Dan. Like, you can have a guest list.
I mean, you must know Bo Thomas, right? He does Tele7 Master. Yeah, Tele7 Master. Yeah.
He mastered the Hyper D album.
Right, there you go. Right. And shout out to you, Bo. Love you, Bo. But he's someone that's every time, like, he should be able to walk into pretty much any fucking venue for free, as far as I'm concerned, because of just the massive contribution he's made to the scene. Yeah. I mean, he's like people.
He's done something for me very recently.
I'm sure, and he continues to, because he's an absolute fucking stone cold legend. And but he has always insisted on paying, like into any event that I've done. It's really annoying because I never wanted to pay because I just think he's amazing. But he always insists on doing it. But he does make loads of money, so good for him.
But he's good at what he does.
He's amazing at what he does. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying good on you, man. You make it. Do you know what I mean? You know.
So when you
shout out to Susanna as well.
Yeah, when you put on your nights, right? Did you used to like stay on the door?
As little as possible, because I just used to just get really wound up. It depends. Like, some of them I had to do the door, which was always really uncomfortable. It was always unpleasant because when people didn't show up, it was just like awful. And we were doing. There were so many nights where we would have it would just be ram from the start. This is when we were doing technicality at Herbal. And then there were certain nights where it was just dead, and then it was just like those are just it was just awful. So
I hated the door, right?
Yeah.
I would. In fact, in fact, I made sure I never did the door.
Yeah.
And I would always be extra organised, even like, you know, my mum done the door for me on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, I made
Jake, with us, right? You know,
a few times,
my mum done the door for me, and like, or I'd even pay someone to do the door. Just make sure the door's done. I don't want to do the door.
Yeah.
And you know the main reason why is, you know, like I mentioned before, how you might be the same age as ravers, so you might have some acquaintances.
Yeah.
And like, there was nothing more awkward than an acquaintance that turns up. Right?
And once they get guests,
when they turn up and they're like, "You're out." I say, "Oh, good to see you. Yeah, good to see you too. Did you get a ticket?" Nah. Then you look at them, and they look at you, and then you're looking at them, and they're looking at you, and then you go, £20, please.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just pay a tenner, or whatever. Yeah. It's like,
oh, it's horrible.
Because the thing is, it's like.
And if I'm not there, then we can't have that awkward conversation.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it's never really been much of a problem. But people have always been really up for paying, because I think what it was on our side of things, because it wasn't something that there wasn't a lot of places like, you know, when we're doing Technicality, it wasn't a lot of events that was representing that kind of music. So it was very much a case of, you know, when people came, they wanted to pay because they wanted the night to keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Much like how you see, you know, I was saying to a very well-known promoter just a couple of hours ago, they were sort of panicking about, you know, putting on, you know, large-scale events and stuff, you know, like, you know, sort of print work style, you know, those sort of big kind of things, over 1,000 capacity things, and I'm like, yeah, Rupture ain't got a problem, man. Like, they're fine. Maybe some of the nights you're doing, you need to start thinking about like some of the DJs you're booking. I mean, I don't know, and it's not to criticise any DJs that they're currently working with, but maybe people want to see something a little bit new. And you know, I mean, I'm talking about, you know, we're talking about seeing the same DJ every week last time, but the thing is, there's still so many sort of like massive events, and you just sort of think, why don't they give some of the sort of like, there's so many interesting brands out there, like Launch, you know, I love the launch events, you know, you got Acco Beats, obviously you got Rupture, they're doing things, you know, I mean, even like bloody Medica with a noise test event, you know, people need to know about that. I think it's an important thing.
You know, Cred from Launch.
Yeah.
Right, so I love Handy.
Yeah, I love Cred and Handy. Yeah, they're great.
They're both really good. Right?
They're brilliant.
And Cred, like myself, he's a bit of a multi-genre DJ.
Yeah,
He
he plays a lot of stuff. Yeah, I heard, yeah.
And I got him booked at the venue once.
The venue in New Cross?
Yeah. I got him a booking, he come down and did like a pop set.
I've played in the venue. I played, you know, that night, actually, Shocking FM, that Power Radio, I played at their event. I don't know why though, because I wasn't on the station, but somehow I managed to get, I think just Madder really liked me, and like, I was a bit posh, like.
A posh Duracell.
Yeah, I was a posh Duracell, because, you know, I was like at private school, so I was a bit like la la la. And I still am, you know, at times, which people take piss at me for, and I don't care. But so when I'm going up to because, you know, I was doing nefarious things and carrying in shit and stuff, and like I always used to be extra posh on the door, and then Madder used to hang around with the bouncers and sort of like chat to them all. So whenever I come to the door, he'd take the piss out of me because I'd be like so posh, like, you know. He's like, is it 15 tonight? Oh, that's terrible.
Good times.
That was great times. It was absolutely brilliant. So. I've got to talk to you about Spurs.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
I can't have you in here without having I had a couple of I had about 4 or 5 you know, topics in my head. I wanted to
Spurs is there.
Spurs is definitely one of them.
I've had a soft spot for Villa.
I mean, come on, man, how can you not?
Because I feel in some ways like our destinies are linked.
I was saying to Dave the other day.
2 huge clubs,
2 massive clubs, great legacies.
That
ours is a little bit better than yours, because we've got the European Cup and the Cup Winners' Cup. But that's the only thing that divides us, and it's minor because it's so long ago.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna
but you
try
say
and
that, right?
Claim, it's irrelevant.
Well, I used you as a reference just today, funny enough, because I was at Tottenham's ground today. I was putting up the tifo for the Champions League game, you know.
Oh, yeah, exactly. See, no, we don't Champions League now. That's what I'm saying. It's all right.
So, no, but the point I was making is like, Spurs fans complain about Levy, like our owner.
Yeah.
A lot of people complain about him, and I've just got this like, I'm not pro Levy, but what I am is I try and have a balanced view on things. Right. before Levy we had Sugar, and we were much worse. Much worse.
Yeah,
right?
but Alan Sugar's funny.
And before Sugar, right, we had a guy called Irving Scholar,
Okay.
who nearly put Tottenham out of business. Right?
Yeah.
And how can Levy be the worst
Yeah.
when we had 2 relegation battles with Sugar?
Yeah.
We've never had a relegation battle under Levy.
Yeah.
Right? And the one before Sugar nearly put us out of business.
Yeah,
so how
yeah.
can he be the worst?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make
We're in the
sense.
Champions League regularly.
Yeah.
We're competing with clubs that for years we weren't even close to. And what I said, this is when I referenced Villa early on in the conversation, is it could be worse.
Yeah.
Because look what's happened to Villa.
Thank you very much.
Well, when Tottenham fans say Levy has to go, right? Because we've only won 1 trophy since Levy's been in charge.
Yeah.
And I said, you know that 1 trophy, right? Villa, West Ham, Everton, Newcastle. That 1 trophy is more than those 4 clubs combined.
Yeah, one. Yeah, exactly. No, it's
Combined
true.
since Levy's been in charge at Tottenham.
I mean, it is 1 cup though, so it's like, you know what I mean. I guess in the majority of fans' minds, it's like,
Yeah,
you know,
but
you should be able to do it
the
again.
point I'm making though is that I don't think it's because
I mean, at the same time, Leicester have had
they had a freak.
you know what I mean? They had a championship, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a freak run. But fair play to them. Fair play to them.
You know what I mean?
But the point is that I actually think when Levy took over, which was at the turn of the millennium,
Yeah.
right, what he inherited from Sugar, right,
Wasn't very good.
the top 4 teams, which at the time were Arsenal, Man U, Chelsea and Liverpool,
Okay.
that top 4 that were qualifying for the Champions League season in, season out, with the exception of once when Everton snuck into 4th,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That didn't change for like 15 years. It was the same top 4, right?
Until you broke into that.
So it takes either the billions of an oil nation, Man City, to get into it, or it takes someone with a bit of guile, and that's what I've got to give Levy credit for. Am I a Levy lover? No.
Yeah,
But
he's done. Yeah.
I appreciate Arsenal fans, right? It's easy to pick on Arsenal fans because I'm a Spurs fan. But when they dropped out of the Champions League, they used to say we should be in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I'd say, why?
Yeah.
And they'd say, because we're Arsenal.
But that don't mean anything. If you haven't won, you ain't won, is it?
Yeah, you've got to be there on merit.
Yeah, totally.
We're Arsenal. We should be in the
No,
Champions
that
League.
doesn't work like that.
No, doesn't.
No, unfortunately. I mean, but my entire family, my mum, God rest her soul, she was an Arsenal fan as well. Her entire life, massive Arsenal fan, and so I do have a weird soft spot for Arsenal, because like my sisters, and so when they win, my family are happy and blah blah blah. But no, it's funny living with a Spurs fan, and Dave, shouts Dave, subject for you. He's a massive Spurs fan, and it's just seeing him just so pissed off when Spurs lose. But then obviously he's happy when they win, and it's fun. And our situation, you informed me. I didn't even know because I wasn't paying attention to the news yesterday.
You got a good manager there.
Yeah, that we got Emery coming, so that hopefully will improve things for Villa. I really was rooting for Gerrard though to be our guy, and like
I really should have stayed at
we should have stayed there a couple more seasons maybe. Like, I was really, really hoping Gerrard would be on. I just love the idea of like
Do you
that
know what
sort
I
of
hate about football? I don't know if this is the same for you. Might
Go
not be, for me, you know me. I go home and away, and Europe. I go everywhere. I follow Spurs. Right?
Yeah.
And I hate that I'm a grown man, right? And
Your whole
it
week.
affects my mood.
Yeah, your whole week. I know someone. Well, I knew someone. He passed away now. Rich. This guy. He used to play. He's a DJ. Richie Blood, his name was. He was an incredible DJ. Very, very sorely missed. But his whole week was ruined when Arsenal lost, man. Like it was just like he was just a nightmare to deal with. His whole week was ruined.
The other thing of men of a certain age, right? Men of a certain age, like we have to go to the toilet during the night now, right?
Yeah.
If I need to go for a wee during the night, I never used to. Now I do.
Yeah.
And do you know what automatically comes into my head every time I get up in the night? What was the last Spurs result? Was it a win or a loss? Right? And if it was a loss, I'm like, Right, well, I'm having my wee, right?
It's not that deep.
And if it's a win, I'm like,
I can't. Yeah.
And that's how bad I am.
I mean, I'm a massive UFC fan, particularly because I try and sort of finesse it and say I'm an MMA fan, but everyone's a liar. We all watch the UFC. We all know we watch the UFC more than everyone else. They make the most money and they've got the best fighters. But I love UFC, and I do probably think about that sport more than is probably. It's like I've literally been in pubs, right, and I've got no fighting skill whatsoever. But like looking at people and thinking how I could like beat them in an MMA fight. I remember doing that with an ex, and I was in a pub on a fucking birthday of all days, and I'm looking at her ex, watching him like, well, he's 6'4", like he was really
What
tall.
would you need to do?
What would I need to do to like absolutely destroy him? And I was like, I was gonna take him down, just elbow him in the face until I can't see his face anymore. That's what I was. That was just like a conscious thought in my head. But I've got no fighting skills
Chris,
whatsoever.
that's very dark.
It's just honest.
It is what it is.
It's just honest. All right, cool. So I've got to get onto how we got chatting really, because to be honest, you're one of the reason why you're the first guest on this is because it was our conversations that made me think, you know what, I've got to do a podcast. Like, do you know what I mean? Because of how we got chatting, which was over the, I'm going to make sure I say his name right, because I always get the two of them confused, Wiley incident with when he was tweeting some sort of like problematic things, you know, in regards to the Jewish community. Do you know what I mean? It was, and obviously now we've got this situation with Kanye, like, and I did want to talk to you about that, like, a little bit, because I don't know how, if you want to talk about it at all.
No, it's cool. Let's do it, man. That's what we're here for. Yeah.
I mean, I got, well, I mean, I've obviously on the channel I've got a couple of videos where I didn't excuse Kanye's behaviour. I just said it's just extreme. In short, I said it's extreme attention seeking. Right? He's saying trolling annoying things that are worrying and scary to certain people, but he's doing it because he feels like, in my opinion, that he's not being heard, and that doesn't excuse the action. But there's, what I was trying to say is there's probably a justifiable reason for it, right? And maybe sometimes before we completely destroy someone and vilify them for what they're saying, maybe we should ask why they're saying it. That was just kind of the summary of what I said. And some people were saying, well, I was disappointed in you as a black man to talk about Kanye. And I said, I wasn't defending what he was saying. I was just saying, you know, like, he's just being a dickhead.
The thing with Kanye, I haven't really followed him, right?
No, that's fine. But you got an idea of some of the stuff he's been doing.
I know what he said. I know what he said. I know what he said about not being able to be dropped by Adidas, and he can say any anti-Semitic stuff he wants and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right. Something that you and I in an earlier conversation, like a day or two ago, alluded to was like I get the impression that I don't know whether it's like a level of mental health issues that he has, so he doesn't know what he's saying.
Yeah.
Or if he is purposely just trying to say things to shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know which one it is.
See, my conclusion was it was just shock value. But I don't want to say that and excuse what he's saying, because the problem is, by saying that he's saying it for shock value, it's almost like saying, well, so that's okay to say. No, I'm not saying what he's saying is okay to say, but I think there's a reason why he's saying it. And he's sort of apologised, like, not really, but kind of, on the Piers Morgan show. I believe he's done the Lex Friedman podcast. I don't know if you know who that guy is. And I've been told to watch it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But I think really, I talk about Kanye a lot, because I just get really sad, because it's like he should be celebrated. He's like literally the most sort of richest black man that America's ever had, and you know that should be celebrated. And it's like he's just going through all this shit. Sadness
is like an emotion that probably I felt during that crazy time during lockdown with the Wiley thing or whatever else.
Yeah.
So like for clarity again, right? I have Jewish blood on my dad's side of the family. My mum's side of the family are Christian.
Oh right, okay,
right.
Yeah.
I don't follow religion.
Yeah.
Right. I'm an atheist. I don't follow religion myself, but like I respect religion, and it's not for me. But like if someone wants to follow religion, that's fine.
Sure.
Right? And I have a level of I have a level of empathy whatever your views are. Whatever
Absolutely.
You do, right?
Yeah.
And I think because in that crazy magnified time during lockdown,
Yeah.
right? And I think I stood shoulder to shoulder with everyone for the BLM ideology, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the organisation,
Yeah,
right? But the whole idea
it's a tricky one.
of actually standing up and saying the world needs to change. This is not acceptable, right?
Yes.
And then to have someone that I was standing shoulder to shoulder with,
Yeah.
right, encouraging racism against not necessarily me, because as I said, I'm not Jewish, but I have Jewish family.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It saddened me.
So, because I spoke to a Aboudi. I've
Big up
mentioned him.
Aboudi,
The thing, and what I'm really, I keep sort of, Neil's going to get annoyed at me when I say this because he keeps thinking I'm saying this because I'm trying to be a smart ass, and I'm not. I just genuinely do get a little bit confused with the idea of what is considered anti-Semitic and what isn't. And that's not because I want to be able to say some shit or anything like that. It's just like I see things that people say and I go, all right, and I think about all the things that I said about, and I know it shouldn't be comparative, but all I can do is sort of draw from my own experience really. And I think about all the things that I've heard said about the black community, and I sort of think, okay, well, I kind of think, well, is it? I mean, is it as bad? Maybe not, but maybe it's a matter of sensitivity, from the Jewish perspective.
This is my
maybe?
perception of it, right?
Yeah, please.
So, you see how what Wiley said and did, right?
Yeah. So just what did he say exactly? That was
all Jews should hold the corn and fuck Jews and fuck Israel and blah blah blah, right? And then someone wrote, "Oh, you're pro-Palestine." He went, "No, fuck Palestine too."
Okay. Well,
It's just he was just fuck everyone, right? But what he did, right, in a way, didn't bother me, right?
Yeah.
Because he might have been having an episode or whatever,
Yeah,
it was, right?
Well, just was
Or level of
day.
frustration or something. Something was going on, right?
Yeah.
It's the triggers
Yeah.
that causes. It's the wave that it creates. It's the catalyst of the things that happen from there. So he said all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then there was people that only 3 weeks ago I was standing shoulder to shoulder with saying, well, he shouldn't have said it. But he's got a point.
Yeah.
And you're like,
right, okay.
Really?
Right,
Because if someone who was far right BMP typical, I don't have anything against black people, but have you noticed how knife crime's always the black people?
Yeah, okay.
It's a point, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's a negative stereotype about black people. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't abide by that.
No.
So therefore, people that I love and respect and peers within the scene, going, he shouldn't have said it, but he has a point, and I found it hurtful.
No, I can I can totally understand that because that has what he's saying in that moment. What Wiley's saying in that moment was quite negative and was obviously vitriolic, in its nature. One of the things I just took a tiny kind of confusion point with the Kanye thing was this point when he was on Drink Champs and he was talking about how many of the record labels were Jewish owned, which meant that if you're a black hip hop artist, it means your voice is I'm trying very hard not to say that phrase, controlled by Jews, you know what I mean? But that it's controlled
on a Jewish owned label.
Yeah, on a Jewish owned label. So that it means that if many of the labels are owned by Jews, which when you check factually, that seems to be the case. And he's saying that many of your favourite hip-hop artists are signed to those labels. And that was pointed out to me as an anti-Semitic way of thinking, or an anti-Semitic phraseology, or anti-Semitic trope. And that's where I was a little bit you could say, for example, the last, 50, 100 metres Olympic winners have been black guys. Right? Now, you could say that in a negative way, like you're pissed off about it, or you could say it as it's just a fact, right? It's just a fact. I mean, they made that fuss when the white boy from France qualified for the final, and he still came in last, right? Like, you know what I mean? Right? But bless him, he got there, he got to the final. So that was the thing that really confused me about. And look, I'm not excusing any of the other shit, but it just seems to be this idea that I get really confused about, that if you say something sort of factually about sort of Jewish and business, or Jewish community within the business community, that somehow you're pinpointing them, which is going to lead to maybe some more problematic behaviour, maybe. I don't know.
So, using the analogy you're using, right?
Yeah, please.
Right. When someone says statistically stabbings in London,
yeah,
so factually,
yeah,
I don't think that's a positive argument to make.
No, but it could just be that factually as well, that is what the statistics show, and if that's the case, then there needs to be something done, because that's something negative. So you'd want something done. So it's like, what do you do then?
But I think when people say that,
yes,
what they're trying to do is paint all people of colour in a certain light.
Right. So
and that's why I don't like that argument.
Right, but go on.
And so if someone says to me, why do you stick up for black people? You know, this statistic and that statistic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what all you're doing is trying to like reinforce and push a narrative.
But what about in the Olympic example? Because what I'm saying is like, that's factually correct. We know that to be factually correct. What Kanye is saying is that he knows that in the same instance that there's a situation with the music industry in America with hip hop artists, and what he's saying is, and he's not necessarily, and he did start saying, and it's really annoying because you can't defend what he says later, but the initial point that he made, which was really kind of actually well made on Drink Champs, amazingly, because considering how drunk he was that he wants a situation where black voices are owned by black people in that way, and that there needs to be more black-owned record labels. A little bit like what my point was with the Black Junglist Alliance. It wasn't to vilify white people. It was just to say,
I never took offence to Black Junglist Alliance.
No, but I think,
and I knew there was good guys in it.
Well, this is it. But and the intent's still there, and we're still working on things to help improve that. And there has been some massive improvements there in terms of black-run labels, and this is one of the things. And with black artists, at least getting more opportunities on any label. These are the two sort of primary goals. So we weren't trying to vilify white people. So I think Kanye has done so many. For every one point that he makes that's really good, he says like 10 things that kind of wreck it, and it's just like, shut up. You could have just stayed with the one thing, and you would have been okay. But then he needs to feel like he needs to get more attention.
Yeah, I just said.
But yes,
I don't really know. I haven't really followed Kanye. I know you said some of the things he said.
Yeah. And again,
hip hop's not my industry as well,
right,
so I don't really know too much about hip hop.
No.
But I'll tell you what I will say, right?
Yeah, please.
Here's another thing, right? Moving that same idea that Jews run the music industry, right? I see people talk about Jewish banks run the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's racist on so many different levels, and it's racist on ignorant levels as well.
Right, okay.
Because first of all, that insinuation that Jews secretly run the world, right, is an age-old tripe from the Elders of Zion, which is an anti-Semitic book written in communist Russia, like however many 100 and whatever years ago.
Right, okay.
And also, it like completely ignores the East, right? Because the Bank of China, right? You could put all the top 3 Jewish banks together, and it wouldn't touch the Bank of China, right?
Okay,
the Bank of China say you don't get a seat at our table, mate. Right? Even if you're clubbed in, right? You could be at the back. You got a table at the back.
There has to be some bigger entities.
So, like,
Jewish banks,
to say the Jewish banks run the world,
no.
well, no, they don't, right?
No.
Because they don't even get a table in some of these Eastern banks.
Because that was something that was easily dispelled. I think that was like,
Well, you say that, but people
still believe it. No, this is true though. People do say that shit. I mean, like I said, I think I mentioned it before in a video before. Like, you know, and Abudi mentioned it to me. Verity Raphael, shout out to Verity. She's mentioned it to me as well about like the types of industries that the Jewish community went into after the Second World War, and how it led them to be in the music industry, in the film industry, in bank insurance, law. You know, it was like the only places they could go to kind of earn a living. And so, I mean, in my mind, if their early influence in those industries made them what they are now, then they're doing something right. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't necessarily mean that they control every last facet of every last thing. But I just think it's weird because, like, I wish people said that about black people. Do you know what I mean? Can I be honest? I wish like our stereotypes were like that we controlled the banks. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's a shitty one to have from your perspective, and I know it's a negative.
My nan on my dad's side, right?
Yeah.
So that's
the Jewish side, right? Yeah.
Her parents, one was Russian, funny enough,
right,
and one was Dutch. Right?
Yeah.
The Russian one fled persecution in Russia.
Yeah.
Right? It was in that era of the Elders of Zion, right?
Right, yeah.
So my great grandfather fled Russia.
Yeah.
Right? And he came to England. He met my great grandmother who was Dutch, and then my nan, right? Mm. They lived in Shoreditch.
Right where we are now.
But Shoreditch in 1920s is not the Shoreditch of now.
Right, okay.
There were 7 of them living in a 3-bedroom apartment.
Right.
Right? My nan told me they put coal in blankets.
Yeah.
Right? To keep the beds warm.
Right? Yeah.
Crazy poverty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, again, when you hear these like stereotypical tribes about Jews having all the money.
No, I understand. No, I really do get it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, do we? We have all, or I say we.
Yeah, I do. I understand why. Because there's negative tropes about black people all the time. Yeah. Like, I'm constantly hearing it. This is why I kind of don't get on board with things like Top Boy and, you know, I've related with The Wire. But
Top Boy, I've never seen.
I have no interest in watching
because I think it.
I'm sure it's brilliant. I'm not knocking the guys that made it.
Again, I am sure it's brilliantly acted.
You know, I just don't want to see
scripted, that. Brilliantly directed, brilliantly edited, right?
Yeah, but I'm just bored.
am convinced it is, right? The reason why I personally haven't gone on a crusade about it.
Yeah.
But the reason why I personally haven't watched it is because it's reinforcing another negative stereotype about black culture in inner city London.
Just like that trope about banks running the world with Jews.
Yeah, right, and that's why I've never watched 1 second of Top Boy.
Yeah.
Because even though I am sure it is great.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm sure it is brilliantly scripted.
I'd rather watch Attack the Block.
No, at least got a bit of satire. Come on.
Attack the Block, as I'm saying. I'll take Attack the Block over Top Boy.
I'd rather
any
watch
day.
Don't Be a Menace to Society while drinking juice.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Because at least it's just stupid. It takes a piss out of that whole nonsense. The thing is, like, I get that there needs to be stories about realism, but I'm not interested in slave movies. I'm not interested in like the atypical kitchen sink dramas. Sweet 16 is a beautiful one about a boy coming out being gay on the council estate in Liverpool, I think, which was very different, you know. There's a couple of others that are very sort of dark in the one with I can't remember that really well known one, that was really good. But I'm just sick of seeing, you know, black guys with guns, money, coke around them and talking in really aggressive ways and being horrible to women, and I'm just bored of seeing that. I want to see new stories. Moonlight, that's why, you know, Moonlight was so beautiful. You want to see new depictions, you want to see new ways of seeing us. Even Atlanta, if you know, some of the best like black, you know, sort of content is coming out of America, but Atlanta, the Donald Glover series, so weird and ethereal and left. It was like Twin Peaks, like Black Twin Peaks, like weird sort of kind of. Some of them are singular stories, some of them are narrative stories, and some of them are like fables. Just really weird stuff, really fun. You know, really well done. Lovecraft Country, I don't know if you saw that as well, but that was really, really good as well. So, you know, it was about black people, but it wasn't about black people. I think we've got to start
thinking outside that stereotypical box.
100%. Right? These are things that all have done that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and the problem with, I feel bad, and I have expressed an opinion on my social media before about Top Boy, and I just said I didn't personally. I'm not watching.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%.
And everyone was like, "You should watch it. It's great." Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like.
No,
I'm sure it's great.
No,
right?
not interested.
But I just don't want to see it.
Yeah, right? I'm not watching Amistad either. Do you know what I mean?
It's just, it's tired.
Yeah.
Right? It's tired, and it doesn't. it doesn't push forward a positive narrative.
So, have you seen? Let me ask you then. Have you seen Schindler's List or any of them kind of like Holocaust movies?
I've seen Schindler's List twice, never again.
Right, but like that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, would you, if you see a movie about that period of history, you're not really going to be like rushing to go see that, or are you? I don't know.
No. Like
I just see when I see a slave movie, I'm like, nah, I ain't seen 12 Years a Slave. The only one I see is Django Unchained because I knew that was gonna be. I knew again because it wasn't. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just like.
Samuel Jackson's good in that as well.
Samuel Jackson's great, but my favourite bit of that film, sorry to digress quickly, but my favourite bit of that film is at the end when he's getting his revenge. And then he goes to the black woman in the house. He goes, say bye to Miss Felicia. And they go, bye Miss Felicia. And he just flies her away. And she just goes flying. It's so stupid, like. But
it's an entertaining movie.
It's so funny, yeah. It's very funny.
It is an entertaining movie.
It's great.
But yeah, that for me, it's anything that, and this is why I bring it up. And as you said as well, you've already made the connection. Jews around the world, black culture in inner cities is just crime and drugs and guns, and neither are true.
Yeah, this is the thing. So that's from that standpoint, it is definitely like, you know. But then, you know, well, I keep saying but then. I don't know why I keep saying but then. I don't know what I don't know what point I'm.
There's someone that would see what I've just said,
yeah,
and they'll say he's chatting shit.
Yeah, no, totally. Juice do run the world. Yeah. I know because my mate. Yeah.
This guy's chatting shit.
Yeah.
This guy's chatting shit. Benny B's chatting shit. Jews run the world. Well, someone tell my Uncle Irvin to let me know then.
Yeah.
Because Uncle Irvin ain't brought me in yet.
No, that's what I mean. I need to
give him a call. Irvin. I don't have an uncle called Irvin. See, that's a racial stereotype.
Oh, is that a thing? Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry.
Irvin's a Jewish name. Yeah, Irvin Goldstein.
Oh, I see. Goldstein. Yeah,
Irvin Goldstein. Come and bring me in, bruv. I'm part of the clan.
Do you know what I mean? So what was Scrooge McDuck?
This is the mad thing, right?
Would someone say?
Oh,
sorry, I just had a thought.
You're such a Jew. The people who say that at school, right? And like, when I was at school, people would say, "Oh, you're such a Jew." Like, people just pick up a penny off the floor. You're such a Jew, right? And like, I didn't advertise I was Jewish, right? Well, because I wasn't Jewish. I wasn't bar mitzvahed, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't Jewish. I don't follow religion.
Yeah.
I eat bacon, right?
Yeah.
I've offended like 3 different religions all in one go there, right?
Yeah.
I eat bacon. I love bacon, right? I'm not Jewish,
Yeah.
right? But as I said, I've got Jewish blood. I've got Jewish family, right?
Yeah.
And it was mad. I just would never advertise it because growing up in school in East London, right, it almost had like a negative thing.
Yeah.
Like Jews even then had a negative thing.
Yeah.
And it's only when I become an adult I thought I shouldn't really. It's not that I hid it. It wasn't like someone said, "Are you Jewish?" No.
Yeah.
It was just I wouldn't volunteer it.
Yeah, you wouldn't volunteer it. Yeah.
Yeah. And since being an adult now, I don't. You know, if you don't like Jews, then fuck off then. Whatever. You know, do you know what I mean? I've got Jewish family. If you've got a problem with that, that's your problem, not my problem.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't need to be sort of like so mindful of it anymore. And that's a good thing. I mean, I don't.
And this is the mad thing, right? Because we took, and it's a subject that you brushed upon when we first started talking during lockdown, right?
Yeah.
And that is the whiteness of Jews. Right, you can't be racist to Jews because they're white.
That's what Whoopi Goldberg fucking went on and said. Because remember I said that. I think I said something like that.
Yeah.
Did I say something like that?
We did talk about Whoopi Goldberg at some point. As well. And I love Whoopi. And do you know what? And like I think someone said to me, maybe you said, "What do you think of Whoopi?" I said, "I like Whoopi." Yeah, but did you hear what she said? Yeah, I heard what she said, and she got it wrong. But I still love her. I still love
because
Whoopi.
I think I said to you, what it was. I remember it was like, do you think that because like you know, a Jewish person could walk into the room and not necessarily be identified as Jewish from the minute they walk in the room? There's like a sort of mistrust there. Like, do you know what I mean?
Wait, hold on, wait. First of all, I don't think Whoopi said what she said with malice.
No.
It was with ignorance.
It was just
but not with malice,
the idea of like, you know, white people can't be racist against other white people. I know what she's getting at, but
I don't like the deal. Right, I don't like him.
Yeah,
right.
I was talking about him today actually.
But he did make an amazing point
about the chant. At Tottenham.
Not the Y chant, not the,
right,
the
okay.
Derby chant,
Okay.
a different thing.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
He made an amazing point, and it's linked to what you were saying during lockdown about the whiteness of Jews.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And he said, it's mad that Jews face racism from every angle because from certain people of colour, right, we're white, and people that are far right white, we're not white enough.
Yeah, you're different. Yeah, yeah.
Right, so actually, the racism that Jews get is a bit mad because it's like
it's weird. It's
like
weird.
The racism from both sides.
Yeah.
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 We're white.
Yeah.
From one side, and the other side is, but not white enough.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's not. Again, I'm trying not to do the comparative thing. I think from most, perspectives, if you are to take a certain demographic, there's probably going to be, if you said Chinese people, there are going to probably be a number of different other people that have an issue with Chinese people for a number of different reasons. If you, whatever the race is, and I'm not saying it's not to diminish your point. I just think that's just the shitty nature of that sort of behaviour, isn't it? It's just,
probably.
There's going to be, so you got that just from, say, a British, say, perspective, like, of, people of colour being mistrustful or whatever, and then far right white people being like, well, you're not like us enough, so we want to keep you over there and you control things, we don't trust you as well. There's always like sort of, but then it's like, you'd have, if you go to other parts of the world, where, you've got all those countries around you in Israel, well, not you, sorry, but around Jewish people in Israel, sorry, and so you can see why there's so much paranoia and craziness and fear and just sensitivity and just like, over the whole subject. It's just so like,
I think
palatable sometimes when people talk about it.
To me, right, and the other thing as well is because like the Jewish community is like, it's a minority, right?
Yeah, very much.
So there's probably people that say things about Jews that don't really know.
Yeah,
Jews,
exactly.
or don't realise they know.
They don't know, realise they know. Yeah. See,
right.
I said this from the start.
Right, but
anyway,
they don't realise, right?
Yeah.
So
we need a Jewish Pride Day.
like, when
I'm telling you, man.
when I moved to Clacton for a couple of years in my childhood, right? It was totally white.
Yeah.
They said proper racist things. Things that like in that school that was never said in the school in Forest Gate where I lived before.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And it was a culture shock for me as a kid.
Yeah.
Right. And it was a culture shock because I weren't used to it. And then when even as a kid, I'm trying to digest it. Why is it like this? Because there are no people of colour. So they don't know any people of colour.
They don't know, yeah.
So they just say these racist things because they
There's
don't
no
know,
one
they're not
around
offending
to-
anyone.
not
Or they
offending
think they're not offending
anyone.
anyone. How many times have I been somewhere when I was younger where, someone would say something racist and then realise that there's a black guy in the room. Not you though, you're alright.
Yeah.
And they carry on saying the racist thing and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, but then it's like, stands that black person. No, you know what I mean? It's like that's a situation that some black people have had to put themselves in. And I think it just generally depends on how rural the area they're living in. It's like, if they're in a rural area, they just have to let it go. Because otherwise they're just going to be an outcast. If they want to have some sort of friend base and whatever. Maybe if you're in, Shoreditch and your white mate does it, you might have to take him to task. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But,
There's something about that I find, yeah.
I mean, I can't get on board with it. And I mean, I don't know. There's a lot I can't get on board with, but we'll be here forever if we started doing that. But yeah, man. Well,
Deep shit.
yeah.
As we thought it would be.
Because the thing is, I was going to ask you about that particular MC, but I think we'll probably just leave that one. I'm going to have to maybe do it. Maybe I should try and ask if he wants to come on and find out.
That'd be a good one.
If he wants to come on and see, and I mean, I'm always going to defend free speech, but if you're saying shit that's just going to bring problems to your door, then you deserve problems, innit?
Free speech is there.
Yeah.
Right? And free speech exists.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But there's consequences for what you say.
That's 100. That's what I'm saying, and ultimately, people can say the crazy shit they want to say, but that's going to cause a reaction from some groups of people. Maybe not me, but from some groups of people, And I don't think I'd ever be called to arms to, as long as it's not someone in power, I don't think I'm ever going to be called to arms by something that someone said. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's ever going to make me march streets over something someone said. Like, as crazy as, you know, because I just don't think, I mean, you know, it is funny, we're talking about, just real quick about Kanye, but it just reminded me, something that Neil, no, who said it to me? It was Esteban Perry, I think he said it to me. Oh, no, it was Neil, Shiloh, it was you, sorry.
Big up Shiloh,
Big up Shiloh. And he sent me this, a thing about how the neo-Nazis were on 405 in LA, and there was like a anti-Semitic rally, right? Just to quickly finish that conversation. And like, you know, when I saw the headline, because I started Googling it, and it says, you know, anti-Semitic demonstration, blah, blah, and I looked on the bridge, and it's like 6 geezers. It was just like, it was so pathetic. Not to say that shouldn't be something we're concerned about, because I guess those people feel galvanised by some of the things that Kanye said, which is why it's so problematic about what he's saying.
And that's what I said before.
Yeah.
So when someone says something,
yeah,
they might be going through an issue. I don't care.
Yeah.
What I do care is now you've said that.
Yeah.
It creates.
Yeah. No, there's no two ways about it.
And that was the same thing with the Wiley, and then what you've given there is a perfect example.
Yeah, it does.
Of what happened in LA as well.
It does. But I just think it was the way it was written as a headline. It said, you know, and
there was the same thing, right? About 10 years ago or something. Muslims burn poppies outside something, right?
Yeah.
And then you look, there was fucking 15 of them.
There's like no good, yeah.
Right? But like to the people that want to push that narrative of Muslims, right?
Yeah.
See the Muslims again? There's fucking 15.
Yeah, it was nothing. And
I had more people than that at my after parties at my ass.
I remember the crazy cases in Leeds with the Asian guys, with the girls and all that. And I remember I was working by the Old Bailey at the time, and there was a memo went round about how the BNP were going to be out in force. They gated off the shit, whatever. Get to the day, it was 3 geezers with like George crosses, and I was just like, sometimes I think I get hope when I see shit like that. It's kind of encouraging. Because I remember when you used to see proper like march, like, you know, proper like, you know, 2,000 dudes on, you know, saying, you know, blacks out, whites in and all that sort of stuff. I remember seeing that shit like in real life. Like, do you know what I mean? But then you fast forward to now, and I'm not saying that they're not a problem, but I'm just saying when people ask me have things got better, I always just say, nah, it's not any better. And when I think about some aspects of certain race relations, yeah, I think sometimes. I think it's a lot harder to be that racist. You really have to go out your way. Yeah, like, you know what I mean.
You get whereas before maybe you didn't, but now you will get shunned.
Yeah.
On the whole.
Yeah.
Like
you can't just talk
public
that shit.
Life.
Yeah, you can't
if
just
you're
talk
just
that shit.
so openly racist.
Yeah, you can't just talk that shit. But then at the same time, I mean, as we've seen with like, you know, idiots like Mitsubishi, I'll call his name. I don't give a shit. You know, he's tapped into. He's like done almost like a Trump-like move where he's tapped into a certain type of person. And he knows by using a certain rhetoric, he can get an audience for him. And even by mentioning his name, I'm fucking giving him a fucking audience. But
he's another dude that I have no knowledge about what he does.
You know what I mean? He's a donut.
I know he...
But I will give him props for one thing. I will get... Because, to my understanding, remember there was that controversy where he was just playing like pre-mixed...
I do remember.
Right.
I do.
That was actually...
Someone was filming from above, right?
Yeah, as much as...
And he weren't mixing.
He weren't mixing, but as much as a dickhead as I as I felt it was for some of the things he's been saying now, the one thing I will give him, that was a protest, because he didn't want to DJ, and they were making him DJ, and it's something that they're quite like adamant about. They want their artists to do that. So he apparently, the story is, in protest, he just was doing this shit because I kind of wanted to get caught. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, he wanted people to know. Because he wasn't even making it obvious that he was mixing. He was just like kind of standing there. So why would you do that if you were faking a mix? If you're faking a mix, you'd fake the mix, wouldn't you? But he wasn't, from my understanding, because I've never seen the footage, but people have told me in the footage, it doesn't even look like he's trying. So I think he wanted to get caught because he didn't want to, you know, DJ. So you're a dick, but that's
grey area.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of life. These days, everything. The last thing I'm going to say is like is these days, guys in life, right? People can have different opinions to you. They can have different views to you, right?
Yeah.
If you cut yourself off from anyone that has a different view or opinion, how can you get confused when you don't understand how the world works?
Exactly.
The amount of times I see people say, this is what I believe, and if you believe something, unfriend me.
Yeah.
And then the world doesn't quite work how you think it works.
Okay.
I can't believe how it works like this. Everyone thinks the way I think. Well, no, they don't. You've just created an echo chamber of like-minded people. Don't draw lines. Don't say, this is the line, I'm this side, what side are you? Say, I don't like what you're doing there, but that's not a bad point.
Yeah.
That's how you meet in the middle.
Yeah.
That's how you meet in the middle.
I think that you can...
But then, do you know what social media is like? Right? Again, sorry. I said we're going to finish on this, right?
Yeah.
Then what starts happening, right, is I might go on Twitter and I say, everyone's entitled to their opinion. What you got to do is you got to find compromise, and you got to see where they're coming from and have a level of empathy.
Yeah.
And someone will reply, "What? So racists are okay?"
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, what? So paedophilia's okay?" What?
Yeah.
What?
Why
what?
do people just throw out
Like what?
pedo?
What did I say any of this? But do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I'm talking about people who are like-minded, not like fucking nutters or pedos or like, full-on nutty Nazi racist.
Yeah.
I'm talking about someone that has a different opinion to you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, but when I say that, try and find a compromise. They have the right to think what they think. Why do people throw? Oh, so I suppose racists are right. Then.
I just think it's been hilarious for me. You're absolutely right, and I think it's been hilarious for me because I've actually caused disappointment in people by telling them something as simple as I watch a podcast. I could watch a certain podcast, and someone's opinion will completely change. Like I've had people message me. I mean, I've had death threats since the stuff with that company, and it's like. It's hilarious to know that people would take the time to write very well crafted, because it was very neatly done as well, because like the lines were almost the same length, and it was very weird to watch that. It was almost like someone who is used to writing lyrics wrote it. But anyway, that's just a hypothesis. I mean, I can't offer any evidence, but it's just really weird to see that. So like people have blatantly lost an incredible, well, some of them have lost complete disrespect for me, lost respect for me because I said that I watch a certain podcast, or the vitriol I received, after that initial video came out, and stuff, it's just like the people that I've received it from, it's like, wait, but why are you mad at me? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I was saying something that's going to kind of help us. Like, it doesn't make sense that you would be mad. But hey, if that's your politics, it's fine. It's weird. But I've learned to stop hating. That's definitely, because that's something I was really good at.
Yeah,
I was really good at hating.
Because hate is another negative.
Yeah, it just eats you up, man.
Negativity pushes, feeds itself.
Yeah,
hate feeds itself. Negativity feeds itself.
Just give myself migraines.
For me, right. I know sometimes it's hard as well. That's the mad thing, right? I was really good at that when I was younger. Like just move on, brush it off, just carry on.
It's not the one.
Sometimes now I find I am thinking about this a bit too much,
right?
And I have to sort of like remind myself. Do you know what, Ben? It's all good.
It's all good. Well, that's a great place to leave it, mate. It's all good, bruv.
Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this. I really appreciate it, man.
No worries.
Thank you. We've got the first one down. So, if you enjoyed that, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to do it to this camera, and I'm going to do it to this camera, just in case. But like, comment, and subscribe on whatever camera you're watching on. I don't know. And love to you all. And thanks for joining in. Nice one.
See you guys.
Wait.
Nice one, Chris.
Nice one, bro.